Hello again. In today's video we are going to use the system browser in Revit to better understand the mechanical systems as well as troubleshoot our supply system. So first thing we want to do is open up our system browser. That is going to be in the View tab. In the far right over here, User Interface, and turn on your system browser. Just check that. You see right now we pretty much have only modeled mechanical, return, air, and supply, so that's the only thing we're going to see. As we populate mechanical and piping, the systems will show up in here as well. Next we want to click on the column settings icon, which is the wrench on the far right hand side in the top here. And I want to expand general. I want to uncheck space names because we didn't really name our space anything particular. Uncheck this. Now we want to create a new floor plan we're going to do both the level 1 and level 2 mechanical. We'll just start off with the level 1 first. So I'm going to right click on my floor plan on my project browser. I'm going to duplicate and just duplicate the view with this top option here. So here you see you get a nice clean view, no annotations, no anything extra. Let's rename this. So this will be 1 mech. Analyze airflow. Next we'll go to the Analyze tab. So Analyze, we're going to use the duct legend right here. I'm going to click on that and it's going to give me essentially a color legend. So you just want to place this anywhere on your drawing. I'm going to place it here to the left. It's going to ask me what kind of color scheme that I want. We're going to go with flow today. So I'm going to click on that, say OK. See, by default I come up with a 500 and 1000 CFM. Don't worry if yours is different. We'll fix them here later. Okay, let's do the same thing for the level 2. So I'm going to right click, duplicate view, or analyze airflow for the second floor. So rename. Analyze airflow for our level 2. Let's do the same thing with the duct legend. So here, same thing with the flow. Say OK. Let's go over to our system browser. We want to expand the supply air. So you should have 3 different systems by default. Have the one coming from the air handler on the roof, and then each of these VAVs is also creating a different system because they are considered supply. Alright, so let me expand all these. You have the air handler, so this is on the roof. Then you have your terminal unit, single duct VAV, first and second floor here. If you notice, looking in the system browser here, a lot of these units have 0 CFM or flow applied to them. Expand this a little so we can get a better view. And one good thing about the system browser is that we don't actually have to find the unit to be able to change its properties. So if you have a multi-story building, 10, 12 floors, you can open your system browser here and select and change the properties of these units without having to navigate to each floor. So we want to assign some CFMs to these terminal units in both air supply 2 and 3. So what we can do is just click on the terminal unit here, go over to our properties, scroll down, and the actual air supply, this is the column that we will use to change our CFMs. So this unit I want to use 800 CFM, and same thing for the mechanical air supply in 3. Change our actual air supply to 800 CFM. So let's go through here and change the rest of the CFMs to match the handout. So I'm going to change our supply diffusers here. I do believe you can select multiple and change them all at once if you'd like. One of the good things about using the system browser is that you don't have to navigate to the floor that the unit is on to make changes to its properties. I can click on the terminal unit right here. You see this is on level 1. You see it highlights here, so it lights up like you selected it. You click on the one that's on level 2 as well, and you can go over here and you can change its properties. From here we're going to change our terminal unit airflow. So I'm going to click on the terminal unit in Air System 2, and we want to set the actual supply air down here to 800 for each of these VAVs. So 800 for the level 1 VAV, and then level 2 800 as well. Expand these a little more. We also want to make sure your supply diffusers are set to 400 over here in the flow rate and the properties. If they're not, now you see that my mechanical air supply, it's tallying up all of the CFM being called for in the system. So you can't change the CFM right here by default. It's a summation of everything in its system. Next we're going to add the mechanical supply air 2 and 3 to the supply air 1 system, since everything is being supplied by the Aeon air handler up here. So first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you're in the level or on the floor plan of the system that we're going to add. So first let's do the Air System 2, which is on the first floor here. So I click on the mechanical supply air system, and then you click on the select equipment button here on the modify duct system tab. And then I click on my unit, my VAV. Mechanical air supply 2 is gone, and the terminal unit is now on my mechanical air supply 1. So I'm going to go to my second floor and do the same thing for the supply air 3. So once again, you click on your system here, so supply air 3. You say select equipment, and then you select your VAV on the second floor. So now you see it moved the both of my VAVs onto my mechanical air system supply air 1. Now everything should tally up properly. So next is going through and changing the CFM for these Titus units here. So you can select multiple at once with the shift and then the control key as well. And just over here, the primary airflow, we want to set those to 1200. 1200. See, now you have 1200 here on everything. And then the mechanical air supply 1 tallies up to 18,400 correctly. But you notice your air handling unit here is still set at 0 CFM. So this will tally correctly once we get all of our ducts closed off, all of our open ducting. So we want to do a couple things. First, before we start actually closing the ducts and running the duct analyzer, we want to edit our families here for both the Titus unit as well as the VAV box here. Okay, so I'm going to start off with my Titus unit. I'm going to click on the unit and say Edit Family. So what we want to do is we're going to connect our inlet and our outlet here. So I'm going to click on my inlet, and you see this button up here, Link Connection. So I can click on this. Now I'm going to click on my output here, which is the round duct on this side. So I click on that. Now if I select one of my, either my inlet or my outlet, you see a line going between, and this indicates that these are linked, that this will basically flow. So I'm going to load and close. I do want to save changes. No. Just say overwrite with the existing version. There. Alright, let's do the same thing for the VAV. Click. Highlight one of our inlets. Say link connector. So that one looks good. So load and close. No. Next we will use the Analyze tab. We're going to do the Show Disconnects. So click on the Show Disconnects button. You get a couple different options here. We're just going to use the ductwork. We're just going for the duct disconnects. So say OK. All right, so we don't need to worry about any of these disconnects on the mechanical units here. Mainly we're worried about the open ducting. So I can right click on this and cap open end. So you see the exclamation point goes away. Everything for this side over here. Right click, cap open end. So exclamation point goes away. You noticed that the return air transfers here, these are going to be open, that's fine, ignore those. The return air duct here, that's going to be open, that's what you want, because it's going to be sucking up air through this, through this duct here into the back into the return air system. So let's do cap. You can go into 3D here as well and use the 3D to make sure you have everything capped. Open in there, that one's fine. This one's fine. So you see I just capped the last of my ducts, and if you noticed, as soon as I did that, my air handler here auto-populated. So now I'll go back into my first floor plan where we had our CFMs, CFM Legend here. Let's go ahead and put one on CFM Legend on this one as well. You may not have the same exact data points that I do. Don't worry, that's just basically depending on where you put your ducts in relation to each other. So you see it changes color here whenever it hits this duct. Basically this is saying that this is flowing at 4400 CFM, and because you're losing some coming down this run here, you get a little bit less flow here. You'll lose some down here. So so don't worry if your points aren't the same. You should at least have the 18400 here on one of the plans, on your second floor plan. Your first floor plan may not get up to 18,400. And once you're done with the capping of the ducts, and you have your air handler up here reading 18,400, you're done with this portion of the project.